We're two sisters who believe that the purpose of life is to enjoy, create, and have fun. We believe that as humans, we can have anything we want, and things are always working out for us. Experience has taught us that the path to getting everything we want begins with ease. If you believe in miracles and happily ever after, or even if you just want to, then this is the podcast for you. Hi there, I'm your host, Kayla Rain.
And I'm your co-host, Adria Shea.
Welcome back to Attract It With Ease. Adria, how are you?
I'm great.
We're together.
Yay, my favorite.
It's been a while since Adria and I have seen each other in person, actually since we recorded episode 1. And today we're coming to you from the same location, and it's so exciting.
It's fun.
Adria, tell us what you're grateful for today and why.
I'm grateful for beautiful sunsets. Sometimes I see ones that take my breath away and just remind me of what an amazing and gorgeous world that we live in. And I'm grateful for books. They can be entertaining. They can expand my knowledge. And I'm grateful for second chances. There's pretty much anytime I want a do-over of something, life gives me a second chance.
Oh, I love that. That's lucky. I think we all probably get second chances in life, and I think it's great that you acknowledge that and that you believe that you get them all the time. Well, it's funny that you say second chances because one of the things I'm grateful for today is forgiveness. I upset someone recently, and I'm grateful for forgiveness. I'm also grateful for airplanes because I didn't have to drive out to see you. It was so nice to be able to get on a plane, especially during a pandemic when it's been so rare. It felt so good to be able to travel that way. So it was nice to be able to get here quickly and safely. And as funny as this sounds, I'm grateful for nail clippers.
Me too.
It's sometimes the little things, things like tweezers and nail clippers and a rat tail comb or anything that makes the conveniences of everyday life. I definitely appreciate that. And that's been on my mind recently, just the little things that I take for granted. So Adria, we just wrapped up our Jumpstart module, and now this is episode number 11.
Yes.
And from here forward, we'll be submitting or releasing, that's probably the right word, a podcast once a week. And we want our listeners to know that we're still going to continue with action items at the end of every episode, but we hope that you will take the things that you've learned from the first 10 episodes and really try to implement those into your daily life. And of course, on future episodes, we'll use those as jumping off points for some of our conversation. Today, I want to shift gears a little bit from some of the things that we have talked about, and I want to talk about, how do I say it? Basically, what is your job or your duty, or what do you have to do really in order to manifest something? Because on prior episodes, we've talked about how really you shouldn't try and control the details. You shouldn't try and figure out how things should come about. You're really supposed to just sit back, relax, trust the process, and let it go. So it kind of sounds like, just think about what you want and just sit on the couch and wait for it to happen. And then it's hard to believe that. How does that happen if you just don't do anything? And so what I want to discuss today is it's not about not doing anything. It's that what you think the work is, the work or the thing you're supposed to be doing, isn't what you think it is, but there is something that you need to do.
I remember, Kayla, when I was trying to manifest something in particular a while ago, I was watching a lot of different YouTube videos with ideas of how you could manifest this specific thing. And so it did feel like a lot of work. And I know we talked about it because I was like, well, one night I need to visualize this, and the next night I need to make lists, and the next night I need to devote 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night to concentrating on this particular thing. And it was a lot of mental energy. So I love that you're going to tell me how to do this with ease and without putting too much effort into it, because effort makes it feel hard, and that almost has a negative connotation.
Well, even just the word work has a negative connotation, doesn't it? I mean, who wants to work? Who wants to work for anything? And so as nice as it sounds to think, oh, I can just wish for, I don't know, a new job and then sit on the couch and it'll fall in my lap, the likelihood of it happening like that is pretty slim. And if that's really how you're going to go about it, it's probably going to take a really, really, really long time, like maybe your whole life. But that being said, there are things that you can do without trying to figure out the how. And so really what your job is when it comes to manifesting, first of all, is to not think like what you just said, which was, and maybe you didn't catch yourself, I have to visualize this. I have to think about that. I have to focus on my gratitude. First of all, know that you don't have to do anything. And when you feel like you have to do something, you're putting a negative emotion or energy behind it, but it's also not enjoyable. It's not fun and it's not easy. And we want it to be easy. Like you said, we want it to be effortless, and it actually should be effortless. And when it is effortless, that's where the magic happens. That's where the flow comes in. So what is the work? The work is controlling your emotions. That's what you need to do. So in other words, when you're thinking about, I want a new job, the thought shouldn't be, oh, I need a new job. I'm desperate for a new job. I've got to have this job. I really want that job. Your whole goal, your whole job about finding a job is to control your energy, control your emotion, control your vibration. And so it's kind of going back to episode 9 when we talked about having fun. It's finding ways to stay in a high vibration place, finding ways to stay happy, finding ways to control your emotions so that you don't feel stressed, so it does feel easy. And it's acting on the promptings or the inspiration that comes to you. Meaning, a job's probably not going to come and knock on your door, but that doesn't mean that you have to stress and freak out and spend every waking minute searching for a job in order to find a job. It's really focusing on believing that you will find the job, the right opportunity will come to you, staying in a good mindset, being easy about it, and applying when it feels right, talking to someone when it feels right, putting yourself out there when it feels right. And when I say when it feels right, that's hard to quantify, but that's following your heart, following your inspiration, listening to your internal voice. So if the work is raising your vibration, or that it is your job to try and stay happy or be in a state of joy and gratitude most of the time, let's talk about different ways you can do that. Adria, you and I had this conversation, earlier this year. It's been in the last maybe 6 or 7 months. You had sent me a text and you asked me a question. Do you remember what the question was?
If it's the time I'm thinking of, I was feeling really low and wanted to know, how can I shift that around? How can I raise my vibration and get to a positive mindset?
That's right. So how do you raise your vibration? And sometimes it's not about raising your vibration. Sometimes it's literally, how do I stay in this vibration? And maybe it's not even how. But that's the whole goal, is to stay in that state of flow. You want to be able to attract things and keep attracting things. We don't want to be riding a roller coaster where it's up and down and up and down and up and down. But sometimes, like we've talked in the past, sometimes we have moments or bad days or arguments where we need forgiveness. And it's, how do I increase my vibration? How do I make sure I'm attracting the things that I want? And so, Adria, can you give me 1 or 2 of the things that I recommended for you?
Well, I love what you said about skipping, because that's something that never would have occurred to me. But skipping can be pretty fun, especially if you're coordinated.
Okay. So when, honest answer, when was the last time you skipped? Not skipped a song on your CD or skipped school.
I skipped at the family party that we had in the smorgasbord parking lot.
I'm like, you did?
Because the event kind of required it. But aside from that, I don't think I have skipped in years.
Okay, I want our listeners to think for just a second. You're in a poopy mood, we'll call it. You're in a bad mood, and you want to know how to instantly make yourself better, feel better. Well, imagine yourself just full on skipping across the room or down the hall or down the driveway or up the neighborhood. I promise you, you will feel goofy. It will make you smile. It will make someone else smile. And it will instantly change your mood. So yes, skipping is a really good one. Do you remember anything else that I mentioned?
Gratitude list is a big one for me.
Gratitude. And gratitude will be a recurring theme that we talk about frequently because it's such an important piece. Gratitude keeps us in that state of feeling that we have what we need instead of feeling desperate and that we need more. And so anytime that you feel like you need more, just sitting back and making a list of all the things that you currently have, all the things that are working. In fact, you did this the other day. What was it? Yesterday or the day before? You were telling me how you actually were having a bad morning. And that
that's right. That's right. I was having some car trouble on top of some work issues, and I was feeling really overwhelmed when the issues with my car started to take place. And then I suddenly realized there were so many parts of my car that were working fabulously. And I started focusing on those and not the parts that I was having trouble with.
It's all about what you put your focus on. So literally making a list. And it's not, when we talk about a gratitude list, it's one thing to sit and think about what you're grateful for. It's a whole other thing to sit down and take the time and energy to write down what you're grateful for and put it in a list form. And I think I've probably said this before, but I have a note on my phone where I just keep a list of gratitude. Not that I intentionally try to add to it at any given point, but sometimes when I'm standing in line at the bank or I'm, waiting in a drive-thru, or sometimes if I'm in a really bad mood, I open that note and sometimes I add to it and sometimes I read from it. But either way, it's that gratitude list that helps raise my frequency.
And you know what? Let me just say our mom has passed away, but that is one of my most prized possessions is I have a page out of her day planner that was a list of things she was grateful for.
Just one page?
Well, I know she wrote every night, I believe. I think 3 things every night or something like that. But she must have put a bunch of them on one page at one time because I have a page that lists like 25 things. I'll send you a copy.
I don't know how she got that because I don't have one of those.
I swiped it when you were meditating or something in the other room. I
was not paying attention. Good to know. Don't close my eyes next time. No, Mom actually kept a gratitude journal. I don't know if you remember that, and I don't have a copy of it, but I do remember that I didn't know she had a gratitude journal until she had passed away. And it was really wonderful to see that every day she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for. And she was really good at writing different things.
Yeah.
And I don't know that was intentional or not intentional. And sometimes there were duplicate things in there, but she really got creative with what she was grateful for. She probably was grateful for nail clippers.
Yeah, I love that.
So gratitude's a good one. Anything else you can remember from the list? Because I've got a few I can list off too.
Go ahead. I'll let you know if I think of anything.
All right. Well, we've talked about having fun, and we've talked about different ways that you can do that. But there's funny movies. We just watched one today. I haven't seen that in years. We won't tell you what the movie was, but it came out in the 90s, and it definitely made us laugh out loud. If we had been in a bad mood, it would have raised our vibration. Sometimes just asking someone else to help you if you're feeling down or feeling low. For example, calling a friend or a family member, texting. Sometimes just connecting with someone. You don't even have to tell them if you're having a bad day, but just that communication or that connection with someone else is often a great way to raise your vibration, especially if it's someone that you really enjoy. I have one friend in particular that I don't talk to often, but every time I talk to her on the phone, we end up laughing our butts off every single time. And
that's great.
It always feels good, and I'm always happy when I get off the phone with her, grateful that we have those conversations. We've talked about doing things that you really enjoy, things that you love, your hobbies or your skills. We have a sister that absolutely loves cross-stitching, and I'm sure that raises her vibration, and I bet she does it when she's angry. She does it when she's not angry, too. She does it all the time.
What a productive thing to do.
But sometimes it's sports, things that you're into, and whether you're a male or a female, there's probably things that you enjoy. We talked about kickball yesterday. I haven't played kickball in years, and we were talking about how none of the sisters actually enjoy kickball, but I bet if we played, it would be hysterical, and it probably would make us happy if we didn't end up in a fight.
I don't know. Might make us happy.
Adria, there's a sport that you enjoy.
Yes, I love capoeira, and that it's a Brazilian martial art that incorporates the music and the language and a lot of the culture of the Brazilian people. And in fact, there are many times, and especially in the beginning, when I didn't feel like going to train, and I went just because I knew I would feel better being around the people, even if I didn't feel like training. So it's brought a lot of blessings into my life, and that's a great suggestion.
You know what I was just thinking about? I was thinking about singing, because it's something that I do often, and it's not because I'm a particularly good singer, but singing makes me happy, especially when I'm by myself. I find myself singing random songs in the car while I'm driving or doing things. I will sing what I'm doing occasionally. But you've probably heard or read, I've heard it. I've never tried it. I probably should try it. That when you're in an argument, you should actually sing to each other. You should sing what you're saying.
I've not heard that.
End the argument.
I love it. Okay, I'm using it next time.
You better.
Now
I want to get
into
an
argument.
With you. We need an argument so I can make you sing. But just, whether it's with someone else or it's just, around the house, just singing in general often just makes you feel good. And it actually brings you into the present for the most part, because you're focusing on the words. You're thinking about what you're doing. Sometimes you can hum or sing subconsciously, I suppose, but I think singing is a really great way to increase your frequency and raise your vibration.
It occurs to me that if you're singing, you're probably also breathing really well and deeply, which I bet has an effect on your mental state too.
Well, that's probably a whole podcast episode in and of itself. No, I think you're right. There's something to be said about breathing and calming yourself. And there's absolutely breathing techniques that can help with vibration for sure. Our brother-in-law asked us earlier today for memories of mom, and one of our favorite memories. And it occurred to me that one of my favorite memories of mom is something that would increase my vibration, and that's that when I would have a bad day in high school and she would recognize it, she would typically draw me a bath and with bubbles. She would light some candles, even if it was the middle of the afternoon, and she would bring me chocolate, often my favorite candy bar, which at the time was Rolos. And I would just sit in the bath and just soothe away my stress. And I wouldn't say that was something that put me in a high vibration, but it would increase my vibration. And I think it's important, like we've talked about before, to understand that choose that better feeling thought or move to a higher energy, work yourself up to the really high vibration, but just always focus on being in a state of receiving. And sometimes calm is as good as joy. It allows the flow. Anything else you can think of, Adria?
I'm thinking about how much fun we have when we play games together as a family.
Oh, yes.
We do it every Sunday night, but we do it when we get together. We do it every Sunday night over video chat right now because we're in the pandemic. But normally at a family gathering, after we eat and relax for a little bit, somebody pulls out some games, and it's great. It's one of my favorite times just to laugh and enjoy each other's company.
Yes, although we do have a very competitive
I was going to
family.
say, and if I win, then my vibration's really high.
I've been thinking about some of the games that we used to play when we were younger and how much fun we would have with family night or things. We would play things like laser tag, just tag in general, as
Red
kids.
Rover?
Oh, Shalisa is one of our sisters. She's the one that cross stitches. She and I were talking about that the other day, that's up there with dodgeball. And the reason it's not fun
You don't love Red Rover?
Well, I do, but it hurts. It hurts when they run into your arm and they don't break.
But you feel so successful if you break through that line.
Well, the person running through doesn't get hurt. It's the person trying to keep them from running through.
Yes. Maybe it's because I was bigger than most of you, older than you, and bigger than you. So maybe I would not enjoy it as much as an adult.
Do you think we should play Red Rover as adults and see if it is as fun as
we should, but let me train
remember?
first.
Train.
Thanks for the heads up, and let's not tell the sisters we're playing.
Can we be on the same team?
Yes.
Well, we've talked about on our episode about fun, we talked about dancing, we talked about thumb wars, we talked about, did we talk about leg wars?
No. Oh my gosh. I'm not participating in that one.
Then I totally would win.
Because I lose every
She
time.
only says that because she won the thumb war. So, of course, the one I would win, she won't play. But, there's so many different things. We talked about telling jokes. We talked about, you could go to a comedy club. I don't know what's available and around in your area. And it's not to say that you always have to spend money or you have to do all of these really fun things. But your job when it comes to manifesting is controlling your emotion and making sure that you are in that happy, feel good, grateful, easy state. And if it's work to stay happy, then don't put the work in. Just focus on being calm, focus on being at ease, focus on being, like we said, grateful. It doesn't have to be that you're laughing all the time. It doesn't have to be that you're putting effort in. It's just do more of the things that you love. Do things that feel good. If you like to read, then read. If you like to cross stitch, then cross stitch. If you like to sing in your car or in the shower, do it because it feels good. And do more of that. And don't worry, don't stress, don't try and control the outcome, don't try and control the details. It's letting go of all of that and just being easy. That's your job. That's your only job. That's the one job when it comes to manifesting. You come up with what you want, you ask for it, you believe in it, and then you stay in that receiving mode. It's staying in a place where the universe or God or whatever you believe in can bring what you're asking to you, and you're still a vibrational match to the thing that you're asking for. And that leads me to one last idea, unless you have others, Adria, that you want to add. There's one that I think is super easy and really fun, and will tie into our action item for our listeners today. And that is to create a happy playlist. Adria, music is one of the best ways to affect frequency almost instantly. And I'm sure that you can relate to this because sometimes when you're in a bad mood, you can find music that coincides with that mood, and almost it's like listening to something that reiterates that emotion, and
it kind of validates.
It does validate. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, it's like someone else has all the right words and feeling to express what you're feeling, and it just feels good to get it out. And I don't have examples, and if I gave them, it would probably offend someone else, and they would be like, "I love that song. Why are you saying something negative about it?" So I won't be specific about songs, but we all know how that feels. Sometimes you just want that validation and to listen to something that feels the way that you're feeling. And so it is a bit of a intentional effort or task to instead choose something that will shift your vibration. But it actually works. And even if it's not that you're in a bad place and you need to increase your vibration, maybe you're already in a good place, but just listening to good music feels good. It does. Your take on good music is probably different than my take of good music. I'm not saying we appreciate the same music, and maybe we do, maybe we don't, but just in talking and thinking about Mom, there's certain things she used to listen to when we were growing up, and I can turn that on and it makes me feel good instantly because
Absolutely.
All these memories come flooding back. It could be something that music you listened to 10 or 20 years ago that you forgot about, and you throw in that CD, if people even use CDs anymore, Or you run across that song, it comes up somewhere, and instantly you're like, oh, I love this song. I haven't heard it in years. It just makes you feel so good. So one of the best things that I can recommend in order to stay in that flow, in that vibrational state, is to actually spend time creating your own playlist of those songs. Songs that are those feel-good, fun, vibrational songs. And I think I gave that to you as an idea, Adria. And then I think I even sent you some of the songs on my happy playlist. Do you remember that?
You did. Yeah. It was so fun. And what I loved is there were, I believe, at least 2 songs that were already feel-good songs of mine that I wasn't thinking of at the moment. So really resonated with me.
And so I think just being equipped and being prepared with some of these tools is part of the key. It's knowing that you have resources. When you need to increase your vibration or when you need to stay in that flow, having something to easily turn to. Because if you feel like, oh, I've got to go to a comedy club and we're in the middle of a pandemic, I don't know what to do. You're not prepared for that. Or, oh, I really should watch a funny movie right now, but I can't think of any, or I've seen them all. That's totally different than having something pre-prepared that's, on your iTunes playlist, or that you have a CD of, or that you have as a, playlist on your computer. I don't know what technology people have these days, but to have something pre-prepared that when you need it, you can just turn on. And maybe it turns into a dance party. Maybe it turns into singing in the shower, or maybe it's just something that you listen to while you listen, or while you're cooking, or you're cleaning, or you're doing whatever. But it sure feels good to have something, and not just a song, but maybe an hour of songs, or an hour and a half, or 2 hours, or whatever, all of good music that feels good, that makes you want to dance, makes you want to sing, brightens your day. Have you done one of those playlists, Adria?
I have. I actually do. I have a Spotify playlist, but I'm thinking now it only has a few songs in it, and I really need to flesh it out.
Flush it out? Meaning they're not good songs?
No, flesh it out. Isn't that an expression?
It probably is, but it sounded like I need to clear it out.
Well,
throw it away. Start over.
Could do that too.
Well, that leads me to our action item for our listeners for today's episode. I want to encourage our listeners to make their own happy playlist. And I think what would be really fun is for listeners to either send us a message or comment on our Instagram, or even put it in the review for the podcast, but to engage and let us know a song that lifts you up. What would you add to your happy playlist? What would other people add to their happy playlist? In fact, I think we'll do that as part of our Instagram post tomorrow.
That.
So go back and find us on Instagram, find that post, scroll back, and leave us a comment. Let us know what your happy song is, or all of them. Tell us your whole playlist if you want, but we would love to hear from you. I think it will help spur ideas for other people. But make your happy playlist and put it somewhere where you can access it. Do you have anything else you want to add for our listeners today, Adria?
No, I love this idea. I'm excited about
it too. And we don't have a workbook for this episode, but I encourage you to write it down, start thinking about it, spend some time really thinking about what songs make me happy. What songs make me want to dance or sing along? What's a song I used to listen to in the 90s or in the 80s or in the 60s, depending on how old you are, or how old your parents are. Come up with some of those songs that maybe aren't on your radar, that you don't listen to every day, but that really make you feel good, bring back good memories, and put together that playlist for yourself and put it somewhere easily accessible so that you can reach it and use it as a resource. So that's our episode for you. Adria, do you want to remind our listeners about our giveaway?
Yes, we are doing a giveaway from all of the people who submit reviews of our podcast. We encourage you to submit a review and give us your honest feedback. We're looking for that so that we can always improve. We will draw one name each week from the people that have submitted a review, and that person will receive a custom bracelet with their theme word of the year. These bracelets are gender neutral, so...
They are gender neutral. So men, women, or whatever you identify with, you can wear it and get away with it. And one thing we didn't say, Adria, which should have been one of our gratitude. I can't believe neither of us acknowledged it. Our podcast is live. It's a real thing.
Woohoo!
People are listening. And so with that being
Thank you.
said, yes, thank you. That means that by next week, if we have reviews, we can choose our first winner for the year.
That's right. This is your odds are really, really good in the next few weeks if you submit a review.
We hope to get a lot of reviews right out the gate, but the earlier you review, the better your chances. So let us know what you think of the podcast, good or bad. You can always reach us on our website, www.attracted.ease.com, and we look forward to you next week. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.